Good day, everybody. My name is Dr. François Tessier. I am the CEO of the Center for Complementary Therapies and Pain Management in Sri Lanka. Welcome to the Complementary Therapies Talks to YouTube channel, where you discover the most amazing doctors, therapists, philosophers, artists, shaman, healers, acupuncturists, animal facilitated therapists, psychic medium, etc., that are practicing complementary therapies worldwide and that help us to view the world differently. Today is someone different than usual. Our guest today is Jayendra Wijeyesekera, right? He's a Sri Lankan celebrity in the world of tennis. In fact, he is a trainer, a champion, and a teacher. Mr. Jayendra has a diploma in psychology, and for so many years, he was a national champion men's single, national champion men's double, national champion mixed double, and national triple crown champion. So he is basically a tennis champion. He is an International Tennis Federation certified coach, and he is a professional tennis coach since 1998 to date. He is simultaneously a consultant at Sri Lankan Tennis Association. He represented Sri Lanka in Davis Cup, and he was coach for the national wheelchair tennis team. In short, he is Mr. Tennis Sri Lanka. But something happened to him a couple of months ago. Actually, 2 years ago, Mr. Jayendra had a severe stroke and he undergo into a surgery and he survived to all of this, but with severe, heavy consequences. His condition was very bad and he was extremely affected. Since that moment, he did not give up and went into the classical medical approach to heal, but also he chose various approaches from complementary medicines to accelerate his healing. So today, Mr. Jayendra is not representing the therapist part. Mr. Jayendra is going to represent the patient side of complementary therapies, right? And in addition to all of what he is a coach. He is also a mental coach, using his psychological skills with the students or the tennis people. So he's going to talk to us about that as well, right? So, dear Jayendra, as your doctor said, you are a miracle. So thank you very much for accepting my invitation to this talk today. Thank you very much, Jayendra. Thank you.
Thank you, Francois. It's a pleasure and honor.
Right. So before we start, Jayendra, I would like you to tell us a summary of your tennis career, because you have been working in tennis world for so many years. So can you just explain us your professional biography in tennis? What did you do? How long have you been working, and etc.?
Yeah, so as you did mention, I represented Sri Lanka for 19 years in Davis Cup. And I played in the juniors, the under 18, which is called ITF. So I've traveled almost all the world playing ITF under 18 tournaments.
And you were a player also. You were
Yes.
You were as a player.
As a player.
You earned a lot of medals. You earned a lot of awards. You earned a lot of prize, right?
Yes, lots of awards.
And so you were a proud representative of Sri Lanka over the world in the tennis world.
Definitely.
What was your initial passion for tennis? When did it come for you at first in your life?
It actually comes down from my mom. She's
Your
the
mother?
one who wanted me to take up tennis. Though my passion was for football. So she said, no, you're not playing football, you're playing tennis. And I didn't want to argue that with her. I said, okay, tennis it is.
And so you started.
Yeah. I started at the age of 7.
7 years old.
7 years. And it just went on and on and on. And as I became better, obviously I had a liking for it too. Especially when you start winning tournaments, it becomes a lot of fun then. And then tennis became my #1 priority.
Yes.
I used to watch football, but definitely not play anymore.
Right. So tennis is also a very special sport, right? Tennis means concentration. Tennis means focus. There is a lot of mental capacity that you have to develop, not only physical capacity. What is the mental side of tennis? What did tennis show to you about your own mental capacities?
So when maybe I was about 10 or 12 years old, we had a coach was brought to Sri Lanka. He was from the Netherlands. And he gathered a group of players, I included, to do yoga at my house. And then he taught us, because I live opposite the temple. And then he started teaching. We used to go to temple and start the breathing technique, just inhaling and exhaling. And then he told me that this is going to come in use very much to you at some other point of time where you will then remember me.
Mm. So would you say that tennis is a certain form of active meditation also? Is it?
For sure.
Describe that for me.
Okay. Like the great philosopher Plato said, a healthy mind in a healthy body.
Yeah.
So I guess it stems from there. So if you have a strong mind and you let nothing waver your concentration, then you can manage to tackle any obstacle.
And you experience that.
Yeah, it's like playing chess on a tennis court where you manage to get your opponent to hit the ball to you. So you're 2 or 3 steps ahead. So you're maneuvering him around where you're not running all over the place.
You stay focused.
You stay focused and you sort of just command the troops. You're like a puppeteer at the highest level. You manage to do that. Because I'm just going back a couple of months, I remember my 15-year-old daughter saying that whenever she watched me playing, it looked like I was not running and all the opponents were hitting the ball back to me. So then I had to explain it to her what was happening. It was just outmaneuvering where you're 1 or 2 steps ahead. You read the play. So it's a lot of mind games more than anything else.
Oh. As well as a physical game also.
Of course, for sure.
But the mind is very important as well.
A very nice book I read called Bounce. And it shows actually that the better players in different parts of the world, in different sports, they manage to control the play. For instance, they know what's happening next before it actually happens. So they are already in position. So that's why when you watch very good players play tennis, it's actually somewhat boring. It's like they're hitting to each other. They are 1 or 2 steps ahead of the play.
So you also became a trainer and a coach were you using mental training in a way to teach, to coach the players?
Yeah, especially the younger kids, I would teach them to meditate. But my best experience was with, I coached the wheelchair tennis players. These were about 40 players who had lost a limb in the war. And I had them, the first thing we would do, we would sit down and meditate. Because especially on that wheelchair, it is unbelievable how these guys work. So that for me was absolute amazing time of my life. I worked with them for about 6 months, and I even toured with them. I went to Malaysia and I went to Thailand. And what I used to tell my wife was, never one day would these guys ever ask for any assistance. They would do every single thing by themselves. Unbelievable.
So meditation made a big difference for them.
Unbelievable.
How would you describe the power of meditation in mental training? Why is it useful? What is the benefits of it?
Okay, now that you asked, Francois, it's a situation where, let's say you become anxious. So if you take this picture as anxiety, let's say you're driving on the road and you're annoyed about something. So without reacting, if you just stop, take a deep breath, it's like a pause. It's like you're pausing the movie and then you're recontrolling it and then you're slowly going through it. So you can control what's going to happen next. So a deep breath and you have stopped and then you start again at your pace. So you don't even need to lose your temper. You don't need to get angry. You can easily control all these just by breathing.
You said something that struck my mind. You said that you can even predict in advance the movement of the opponent. So surprising. How come? How so? Describe me this feeling. Have you felt this before?
Yes. So it's basically where you are one step ahead. So let's say, for instance, you hit shot A, but before he reacts, you have already moved to position B, and you have made him hit to you. And then it just keeps going on and on. Where he is moving and he's really struggling and hitting the ball back to where you're standing. Or that's what it looks from the outside.
How does it look inside of you? How do you feel that?
I feel, oh, this is very boring. He's not making me run at all. This is getting easier and easier.
So it's making the game boring for you because it's getting too much easy.
It gets easier and easier, yes. But of course, as time goes and the opponents become better and better, it's not as easy. Because they also find a way to deal with it.
So again, you have to develop this consciousness. There is a consciousness part of the work also, isn't it?
Definitely.
Talk to me about that. You can feel, I would say, not only the nonverbal language, but there is a part of, I would use the word intuition, isn't it?
Intuition, yes.
Describe that to me.
Okay, for an example, I can relate it to a situation. Because after the 3 brain surgeries I had, when I came back home, I was watching TV and I had what they call a seizure or a fit, an epileptic fit. It started on my affected side on my left arm to my left leg, and then to my head. And this is uncontrollable. But subsequently, with your help, Francois, the breathing, where the inhaling through the nostrils, exhaling through the mouth, you can find a way to calm yourself down and then take control of this seizure of it. And I haven't had one for about 2 to 3 months now. And I feel that whenever I have a resemblance of this might happen, I start to breathe and give my brain more oxygen. And as a result, I am managing to control these tremors.
Yeah.
I've come a in that sense.
So since we started to speak about that, we will jump onto the mental training later because it's a very passionate subject also. It's a part of you that I did not know so much. But let's talk about what happened to you. So 2 years ago, you had a seizure. And after all of this, your doctor said that you are a miracle. So you are a miracle, Jayendra, huh? So explain that situation to us.
Because when I fell down in my room and I hit my head on a concrete and I was bleeding for about 5 to 5.5 hours, I was on the floor with lots of blood. So that's to be on the floor without any assistance for so long in itself is not usual. So when I had my medical reports and I took it to the doctors, some doctors would look at the report and look at me a couple of times. And some doctors even said, you cannot be here, you cannot be alive. To which I said, hi, I am here. And they said, you have gone through some unbelievable, I mean, your pressure was at 800 odd. When you went into hospital, it's unbelievable that you have managed to, because from the bedroom where this happened, unconscious or barely conscious, I managed to crawl to another room, which again is quite a difficult thing to have done in that situation.
Of course.
And then I had people come and call the ambulance, and then I was taken to the general hospital where my brain surgeon had to perform a emergency surgery. That, I mean, he is a real rock star. He managed to, there's a lot of pressure inside the brain. He managed to take a piece of my skull out and put it back after 3 months.
So you are like a miraculous. Do you believe that because of your mental training, because of your meditation capacity, because of all of your previous life, you could have better chances, for example, as a normal person that have lived the same situation? Because it's kind of unbelievable that you survived to all of this, isn't it?
Definitely. So when I was at the general hospital, I used to do a lot of meditation and try my best, because I used to also listen to a person called Dr. Joe Dispenza, where he has this system, or he had all the TED Talks where he used to manage to heal himself. So even I sort of ventured into that through my meditation. And when my friends who saw me at my worst see me now, actually they are laughing.
Why?
One of my really close friends was here with me a week ago having lunch, and when he looks at me and just nods in disbelief. He said, how is this possible? He said, when I saw you in the general hospital, he said, when I see you now, he said, it's not possible that you are like this. He said, your recovery has been unbelievable.
Yeah.
But it's been a lot of mental concentration.
Yeah. Do you believe, well, I would not say the question is like containing the answer. I will change my question, because I was about to say, do you believe that we have inner healing capacity? I will change my question. How do you feel your own inner capacity to heal? Did you reactivated that? Jayendra, how did you reactivated your own capacity to heal? Because you are the healer. This is not the doctors. These are not the therapists. You are the real healer, isn't it?
Yeah, most definitely. The doctors did help and gave me proper guidance, and I was managed, because I got my wife to make copies of the areas that have been affected, and almost every night I would have this picture in front of me and I would try to get into my system. But of course, I don't think my meditation skills are that good. So I needed the help and the guidance of other doctors like yourself, Dr. Francois, who could put me in a situation where I can get into my body and manage to heal my body from within, which is obviously not an easy thing to do. I mean, I might say it now, but it's certainly not as easy as said or done. I mean, I am like a Sri Lankan Yoda. I mean, that happens in Star Wars and everything. So it's quite an amazing feeling where you know that you can do it. Everyone can do it. But
Of course.
You have to really focus and give yourself that time and learn how meditation and the correct breathing technique can help.
Of course. So for the benefit of our audience, Jayendra is a patient that I have treated, right? So Jayendra have received so many other approaches, but also have received energy healing. And along the way, thanks to the sessions, thanks to the universal energy, Jayendra improved. And also Jayendra is not only doing energy healing. You choose, Jayendra, to have a complementary approach of healing along the way with the doctors. What did complementary therapies, including energy healing, brought to you? What difference it made to receive all these treatment? And first of all, what did you receive? You received energy healing. You receive acupuncture, craniosacral. What else did you have?
Craniosacral and a little bit of Ayurveda that Sri Lanka is very well known for.
Ayurvedic Sri Lankan traditional medicine. What else did you receive? Chiropractic? No.
No, not that.
So you had like 4 different modalities: energy healing, acupuncture, Ayurveda, and craniosacral, right? In general, what difference to receive these complementary therapies brought to you? What is the difference that it made in your rehabilitation?
One thing that definitely stands out is, now I think for certain, like surgery, you definitely need a surgeon, there's no doubt. But sometimes for when you take Western medicine, they hold back telling you what the after effects may be. So when you have natural medicine, there is definitely no after effects. So without too much of scare or fear, you can go ahead. I also had homeopathy.
Oh.
So I had quite a few. I had acupuncture, craniosacral, energy healing, homeopathy.
Right. So the first aspect is no side effect.
No side effects.
But did it improve things? What, for example, after acupuncture, what was the benefit of receiving acupuncture? Before and after, what's the difference before and after with acupuncture? What would you say about that?
Because as far as I know, acupuncture activates your nerves.
Did you feel a difference? Did you feel that after acupuncture treatment, you had certain effect? And if so, what were they?
Because I have still a weakness in my left side, especially my left arm. And with the acupuncture, it improved quite a lot.
In such a way that now you could move more your hands. Is that so?
I can move, and I can also do the day-to-day things I can do now by myself, which I couldn't do before.
Right. And with Ayurveda, what were the benefits that you got from that discipleship? Because Ayurveda is traditional medicine in Sri Lanka, also in India, and you had Ayurvedic treatments. And what did it brought to you?
So with the Ayurveda, what benefited me the most was the oil, the external application of the Ayurvedic oils, which onto my left hand and my left side helped a lot.
Right. The Craniosacral Approach now that you received, I believe that you just started to have this approach recently, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a recent
approach. How do you feel after receiving this kind of treatment?
Especially with craniosacral, it's extra relaxing, and I feel so much more relaxed. Plus, even for my left hand, it helps a lot. It's moving better. It's now sort of on par with my right, which was not the case at all. Which was not the case before I started.
And as I was treating you for energy healing, there were improvement for the arm movement, and there was tactile sensation. Can you talk about that? You lost the capacity to feel your skin, and now it has improved, isn't it?
Yeah, it was a massive improvement.
Which means that now you can feel your skin.
It's like there are little like electric sensations. It's like the arm has come from the brain. The messages are coming through down to the arm saying, you are still here, you are still alive.
Yeah.
And it's reconnecting. It's like it's reconnecting.
You reconnected the circuits.
Circuits to muscles that have not been used for almost 2 years.
Now it's coming back.
Coming back.
Right. What about the emotional aspect of it? Because there was, I would say, an emotional burden, right? And as far as I know, the stress reduced, isn't it? And also the epilepsy episode and the Parkinson aspect of it, the tremor have changed a little bit. Talk to us about these things, the difference that it made.
The tremor actually, the tremor has reduced a lot from the breathing methods, reduced to non-existent at the moment. But every morning I have a disciplined exercise regime. I would go in my garden and spend at least 5 to 10 minutes of my breathing exercises. But this, I believe, is a must, and I have to have the discipline to be able to do this every single morning.
Yeah. And the emotional part, which is the stress, anxiety, I could observe a difference, but I would like you to express the changes that you felt after the energy healing. How did you feel during the sessions? How do you feel? How does it feel to receive this kind of treatment when you are receiving?
Feel very relaxed. So obviously, if you're feeling so relaxed, then your anxiousness disappears. So every time you're getting a session of energy healing, you are not anxious anymore. That completely goes away.
And is it maintained or is it reappearing after a few hours, few days over time? Does the anxiety continue to be less, or does it just have an impact for a few hours?
No, the anxiety is through the session. It goes away, and for a couple of days you have no anxiousness or anxiety at all. And if you feel by any chance that you might feel a bit anxious, then you just need to practice your breathing again. And like magic, it's gone again.
Right. So there is a progressive minimizing of this kind of symptom over time. The symptoms are from high to less, and from less to less again to less again. Would you see that there is a constant improvement? Did you feel it like that?
Definitely, constantly, it keeps reducing.
It keeps
reduces so much to you think, no, you may not have these tremors again. It makes you quite confident, because these seizures used to come on whenever I felt anxious. So now I'm in a situation where I can control these situations. When I
That's
feel
great.
like I get into anxious situation, I just start to breathe very deeply, and then it's gone away. So I can avoid these situations.
Right.
Now I have control over this.
Right.
Which is massive improvement from before.
Yeah. There is one aspect, Jayendra, that I would like to talk about. Getting back to mental training, getting back to coaching, sports coaching, tennis coaching. I know that in some area of the world, in Canada, for example, there are coaches that are enrolling street children, and they are enrolling them into some sports. They coach them, they give them mental capacity, and it improves their life. So you said that you work with, was it war veteran? I didn't hear properly. It was war veteran that you worked with, right?
Sorry.
You were working as a coach with people that were suffering from war.
Sorry, Francois.
Did you?
I didn't get that.
You previously you mentioned that you were working with people that has suffered from the war in Sri Lanka, coaching them.
Wheelchair tennis players. So they're soldiers.
Soldier.
Army. Ex-army.
Soldier. What is the difference in their life, these soldiers? Because this coaching, did you observe any improvement in their mental capacity, in their emotions, in what was the difference of that coaching?
Some of them suffer from PTSD, and from the meditation I managed to get them into a good place, where when they were on the court, they didn't have any horrific images, or for the moment they were thinking tennis, and they were thinking to compete, because I mean they've been in the worst of it. They have been around death, left, right, and center, while they are, even at that time, even their lives were at stake. So they've been in the worst of it.
Right.
I managed to get them to calm down mental training.
Fantastic. There is an aspect of a sport and of athlete that I know of. I would like you to hear your opinion on that, Jayendra. At a certain point, the athlete has to surpass his physical capacity because of its opponent, whatever the sport is. The sport is physically demanding. There is an aspect where there is a moment where the athlete loses the feeling of the present moment and feel elevated, feel in a zone, feel like floating, feel like his own superpower to win. Have you experienced that moment, that kind of zone moment where you felt that you surpassed yourself? Did you experience that along your career of athlete?
Yes, doctor. Quite often. For instance, let's say, for instance, if I was playing doubles, and if it so happened that my partner wasn't as good as I was, then of course I had to be playing for two people. So then you sometimes come up with exceptional performances. So you push yourself, but you believe that you can. So that's the mental training aspect that pushes your body to say, no, you can. Though the odds are against you, you fight your physicality. Physically, it's saying no, you can't, but mentally, you're saying no, you can. So it is where you're mentally fighting your boundaries and you're pushing the bar higher and higher all the time, because you're not satisfied with a performance at a particular level. You believe you can do better. So then you push your physical body also to perform that much better.
And you achieve it.
Yeah, and then once you climb that hurdle, then you see, you can manage it. So the next time it's not as difficult anymore.
The sports and the athlete are reporting that the moment that they are into this zone, body pain disappear. They feel that the time disappear. The present moment is the most important things. Did you feel something like that?
Everything disappears. You're in such a zone that you feel invincible. You feel for even a moment, you feel like Superman. And you are doing things that even you find difficult to believe. But you have to keep pushing. The more you push, the more you can get deeper and deeper into that. But that zone is quite a thing. I mean, that's when you come home and you look back on your match and think, wow, that was fantastic. So that's what gives you that sort of happiness to push even further.
Right. That's very inspiring to hear that from you, Jay. I would like to know now, for people that are passing difficult moment because of their sick, or people that are crossing difficult period of time because of depression or because of whatever situation they're facing. After you have crossed all of these obstacles with like a champion, because you were a champion, you still are a champion. you achieve the higher goal. It's a miracle. So what kind of message would you relay to these people to keep their hope alive?
what I can say to help like depression and most things that are in the mind, if it is there, you can always get rid of it too. It is probably something that is there by your own mental doing. And you can similarly, you can put it there, you can get it out. Because the mind and the individual is capable of unbelievable things. So no task is too big for a human.
Do you think that they have to believe in themselves? Huh? They have to believe. How could you help someone to believe in himself, in herself? The training that you provided to these military people gave them back their belief in themselves, isn't it?
Yes, doctor.
What could you say to people that have stopped to believe in themselves, to encourage them? The power is inside of them, isn't it? Huh? The power, they have their inner power.
Power is all here. But it might be worth revisiting the reason why they are upset with themselves and try to break it down and see why am I upset with myself and which particular thing, and then maybe you can reverse it. But I think it's important to also find out why, what and why and when and how, rather than just, because if you have a goal, then it might be easier to achieve the goal.
Very insightful and very true. Revisiting that you have what you have inside of you, and shifting it up.
Yeah, definitely.
Is that what you did, Jay?
Just changed it. If I looked at it in one direction, then I would change it and look at it in another direction. And the more you keep shifting it back and forth, then somewhere you find a loophole. And you say, okay, right, let me try this now. And it works. It should work. You just keep revisiting it.
Did your study psychology helps you to better understand these concepts, because you have a diploma in psychology? Did your study in psychology was insightful for you, Jayendra?
Definitely. I go through my notes all the time. But if people are going through depression and different difficult situations, it's always good to talk about it with a doctor such as yourself, Dr. Francois, because there are some things, some angles we actually we find difficult to see because of our egos. So sometimes it's important to talk to someone, push the ego aside and get some help, and talking to someone else helps a lot.
Right. That is completely true. That is completely true. There is a belief, and I would like to hear you about that also, Jayendra. Men have more difficulty to seek for help. Is that true?
Definitely.
Why is that?
Because men have a very large ego that gets in the way of them. They have pride and ego. They don't want to feel like hopeless or little in the face of others.
What would you tell them? What is your message to them?
My message, as before, is you have to take your ego and move it aside. Because that book where it says, me, myself, and I is not a good book. You have to start talking to others. Because there is no shame. I mean, we are all human. We can all make mistakes. Now, for instance, even my situation, when I had the stroke, all I needed to have done was listened and gone to the hospital and just had one medical checkup. And then I would have never had the stroke. But I was playing tennis 5-6 hours of tennis a day, physically extremely fit. So my ego said, no, you're fine. And obviously I wasn't. So now I know better. Actually, all my friends, they all went and bought themselves a blood pressure machine after what happened to me. They said, if that can happen to you, it can happen to anyone.
Of course. That is very insightful, very much. Very, very much. Right. So what is your future project, Jayendra? Because you're not finished. You're very lively and you are in a very high curve of ascension. What do you want to achieve? What is your dream now that everything is coming back to normal? What is your best dream, Jayendra?
My dream actually is I have this plan that I want to build an orphanage and a home for the elders. And I have got some land, been given some land a little bit further out of Colombo. So this is my next project. Because I think Sri Lanka needs that.
Wow.
So that's my next focus, which I hope I can achieve within the next year. I want to achieve. I want to finish building that.
Fantastic goal, huh? Very insightful also.
Because my parents, in the name of my parents, they would be very happy if I can have something in their name. And they being the people, they were very kind people, kind and generous. They would really love that I did something like this.
And you can train the children to play tennis.
Yes, actually the children in the orphanage, I'm trying to train them to grow organic vegetables, do sport, do acupuncture, things that could be beneficial to society.
Anyway, it's an amazing goal.
Yeah, wish me luck, doctor.
Well, that's it. We are achieving our absolutely insightful interview. Insightful and rich, thoughtful wisdom that you have, Jayendra. I have no words to thank you to accept to share that with the world. And we are definitely going to follow you in your recovery. I thank you very much. And I say, God bless you. Have a great night.
God bless you.
Thank you. Goodbye.